All right, so in this free training that you're about to see is a snippet and a call from me coaching me and the team inside the RSA Mastermind, me and my clients. Now, I got a great question from one of my clients slash students, whatever you want to call that relationship. Uh, Connor, how do you manage your mindset getting into high ticket sales space? How should you think as a beginner? What do you do when you have setbacks, when you have problems, when you have challenges, when you have roadblocks, right? When you have all these things, what do you do when the going gets tough? How do you think? What is the lens, the perspective that you had when you went through that pretty hard period? So I cover a lot of stuff in this training. It was very real, it was very raw. And yeah, I think I just wanted to come and share it with you guys in the YouTube channel because I know you guys will get a ton of value. And I know a lot of people that might be struggling with getting into high ticket sales. I know a lot of beginners watch my YouTube channel who have worked with a marketer and haven't got any results. And they use my YouTube channel as a pretty valuable resource, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. But hopefully, it's very valuable for you. There's a lot of good key takeaways, and hopefully, you learn something. So I'll post it in the training here. And yeah, hopefully, you guys enjoy it.
Thank you.
Let's move on to some mindset stuff. Hey, right?
Just quickly, Connor, can I just add
Yes,
one point to your last thing?
absolutely.
Uh, to the guys in the group, if I could go back, so I'm coming up, I think, to my 12th month or maybe 11th, 12th month now. If I could go back, just focus, like everything Connor says, obviously, but if you could do like a daily thing, like role play needs to be absolute mandatory. Like I wish I was doing that from day one. I didn't even start role playing until like literally 3 months ago. I wish I was role playing from day dot, an hour a day, every single day, 30 minutes to an hour of training a day, and then reviewing your role play or your calls. Like they're absolute mandatory every single day, no matter what. Role play,
Abs-
reviewing your call, and training.
Absolutely. And if I was going to add further to that, the best way that you want to think about this is that as a salesperson, you're an athlete, right? You're paid for your performance. It's a meritocracy, right? That's what it is. You're paid for the results you bring to the table. So you need to act like it and you need to train like it as well, right? A lot of people are kind of misconstrue, turn around, bend the reality or whatever of where I say networking is really important. Yes, networking is important, but also is your sales skill, of course, right? You have to train, you have to be good at the actual thing that you do. Otherwise, you're not going to get paid the big bucks. That's how it works, right? And so basically, people misinterpret that and go, well, the only thing I want to lean on is networking. No, that's not what you need to do. You need to heavily network to get your first role and opportunity. And then once you get that role, that flips. It goes like 70, 80% of your time should be spent on training. And 20% of it should be on uh networking, building your personal brand and relationships and connecting and networking, right? But the best way you want to view it as is you're viewing your game tapes, right? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all these high level athletes, what do? They watch their game tapes, they watch other people's game tapes over and over and over and over again. Conor McGregor, all these high level athletes, what do? They watch their performance and they watch other people's performances over and over again. They watch how they can tweak and adjust, right? They watch things in reflection, right? And so, again, training is a big one. I think a quote I heard from one of my friends, one of my buddies, Sean Ray, is training something that you do or something that you did, right? And so you're constantly always training. You need to put time in your calendar to train. You always do it. To the level of, and again, this is what I mean by obsession, guys. To the level of obsession where we've spoken about this in the past, but like when I was first getting started, first 2 or 3 years, I had like a role play booked in every day, close to, right? I would attend group training calls. I get, training, blah, 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 blah. Like I would do this all the time, guys, to the point where I just was unconscious with it. I was the guy that always showed up. That's how I got noticed, right? Before I had networking and understanding it. I was that guy that showed up to every training call. Was always there First in line, first to put my hand up, first to always ask for help. Always. Oh, Connor, what do you want to train today? Objection handling. Let's dive in. Great for it. Let's go. Right? This is exactly what I would do. Right? Um, so yeah, that's a great point, Benji, and I completely agree. Making sense so far, guys? Still got your attention? Great. Okay. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about mindset, right? Now, I'm not going to talk about it too much, but there is going to be some special announcements pretty soon of some coaches that will be coming on the team. So I'm super excited to announce that as well. So that'll be happening either next week or the next 2 weeks, something like that. So you guys are going to get some more support, which is super exciting. Um, but yeah, let's dive in because I'm not super good at mindset. I can only talk through my experience. But long story short, guys, throughout this journey, you're going to have what are called peaks and valleys, right? We've all had them on some type of scale at some point, right? You guys can think of it when you made your first commissions. That's a pretty good peak, right? Your first internet money. It's pretty cool. And then you lose your gig. Bit shit, right? Sucks. Feels like a big kick in the dick because it is, right? And then maybe you fall down again and you're down in the dumps. You're like, what the fuck is going on? What do I do? Is this even going to work? Can I make money doing this? Right? One thing I want you guys to imagine is the point I tied back to earlier before is I really want you guys to think about this. If someone out there has achieved what you want to achieve, what's going to prevent you from doing the same? Really, 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 honestly, really. What is the proof of concept that you can have in your life that you've seen someone achieving what you want to achieve? That's not smarter than you, that's not more better off than you or whatever. There is no difference, right? Think back to your life where you can think about the instances where you've seen people crushing it and you know you could do the same too because they're just human like you. This is why I really try to bring myself down as much as possible and make myself as human as possible to you guys because that's literally who I am. I talk to you guys as the person I am. I don't put on some facade or some random thing. Like I'm Connor Healy, like that's who I am. And so, again, I'm nothing special. There's nothing, I'm not a genius, not brilliant, right? Just like everyone here in this call. What you're seeing right now is the sheer glimmer of 4 years of continuous sacrifice of doing nothing else but this. That's it. That's all it is. It's me pushing shit uphill for years, right? I'm going to emphasize this with my own journey so you guys will actually understand. Again, I'm human just like you, and I've gone through the same experiences you're going through. And that's why I can give you the advice that I'm giving you. When I first got started in this industry, some of you guys might have a relatable experience, but basically, my ex-girlfriend of 3 years broke up with me, right? That was the first thing where I was literally heartbroken and I was like, fuck. Like, I was trying to make high ticket sales work. I couldn't make it work. And then she basically broke up with me, right? That was the first low, 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 right? That was the first thing that started everything, really. Then I started working with my mentor, and I basically I first mentor, again, it took me 8 months to kind of really see that first little glimmer of success, right? Which was getting my first job. And then what happened from there? I dialed leads for 3 months. 5 people started on the team with me, and every single one left, right? Every single person left because the office sucked. I had no idea what I was doing. I made zero for like 3 months. My whole day literally consisted of waking up at 4 a.m., dialing US American leads on Australian time zone till like 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning. Then I go to my retail job, work 9 to 5 or 10 to 6, and I come back home and I'd study more sales material. That's how blindly obsessed I was. with this, right? And then I think something happened at this point, but then from here, I think I made my first $300 sale, right? My $300 commission appointment set. I called it the $1 million bagel. Went down to the bakery. I was so excited after earning my first commission after like 10, 11 months of work, something like that, for nothing, nada. And I just went down the bakery and I called it the $1 million bagel. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God. I just earned $300, make money online. Holy shit. It's real, right? It's possible. And then very shortly after, I got a call from my mentor and he's like, hey, bro, I was basically shitting bricks because you guys have probably done this before. I don't know. I was dialing leads and I was spoofing the numbers a little bit because I wanted to make it seem like I did more dials than I did because I was getting a little bit lazy because it was 3 months in. I was fucking not getting anywhere. So if it was like 100 dials, I put it like 50, $150, right? Is what I would put there. And I was shit myself because my mentor gave me a call and was like, hey, dude, can we just jump on a quick chat? And I was like, holy, I'm fucked. This is not good. And then he called me up and he's like, hey, dude, I've got some pretty bad news to tell you. And I was like, oh my God, I'm cooked. I'm fucked. This is not good. Right. What happened from there was he's like, so I had a bit of disagreement with Oliver, which was the sales manager at the time. I've let him go. Do you want to start closing? And I was like, oh my God, holy shit. I can, I can start closing now. Oh my God. And then I got into a closing position. And that was after like a year and a bit. I think it's longer than that, if I'm honest. The timeline's a bit blurry because the last 4 or 5 years have gone in a bit of a blink. But that's when I got my first closing role. And that's how I got it. And this is again, knowing nothing that you guys know now in the training. This is with less than 5% of what you guys have access to, by the way. I want to emphasize that. Once I got my closing position, then I moved on to what was it? I started closing. I was making $3,000 to $5,000 a month. The offer really wasn't that good. And then the mentor of mine, basically just said, "Hey, like I want to turn you into CEO," but like he wanted me to become a CEO of a business that did less than $50,000 a month, which I didn't realize there was no point in doing that at the time. And essentially, we ended up parting ways. It took me a long time to make that decision. And then I started working with two companies, which is kind of like where I moved up here, I guess, right? Peaks and valleys kind of out of the mix here, but I'm just kind of drawing this for the explanation scenario. Then what happened from there was I was closing for a biz op, right? This is where I made, 10 to 12K a month pretty consistently for a year, but that didn't happen yet. This is when I landed a management position doing consulting for a seven-figure business that I turned into a multi-seven-figure business. And this is when I jumped up to around 20 to 25K a month at 20 years old, right? And in this position, I was working like, to be honest, like 6 hours a week, right? This is a long time into this, by the way, guys. This is from making a $7,500 investment all the way back here to like getting nothing for a really long time. Then I made it here somehow, randomly, right? Then I lost that position and I got fired because the founder and manager found out that I was 20 years old and he was unhappy paying a 20 something, yeah, 20-year-old young man all this money, right? Because he thought I was a bit older than I was. And honestly, guys, I could keep on talking about that for ages. There's so many events that have happened throughout my life, the last 4 years, that have felt like shit, like kick in the guts every single time. The reason I kind of wanted to explain this little first part to you here is again, there's so much I could kind of go on about, but I don't really want to because I don't think it's necessary or required. No worries, Reese. See you, brother. Um, I could keep, but I don't really need to. I don't think it's necessary. You're gonna have so many times where you're gonna feel like this is just fucking not gonna work and this doesn't make any sense at all. You're gonna have so many times where you doubt yourself, where you're down in the dumps and shit's just not working for you. But this is something that I really want you to really take into account because this is a really big learning that I had recently. You all know how I talk about taking responsibility is really important, right? Everybody knows how I talk about that pretty often. Taking ownership, taking accountability for your results. We know how it's pretty important here. This was the biggest lesson I had from spending $7,500 on my first mentor. This is the only thing that I learned that changed my life, right? If you are not where you want to be at, guys, it's about accepting that it's you and only you that is responsible for that. If you project responsibility outside of that, then you're losing your power, right? It doesn't help you, it doesn't serve you. That mindset is a victim mindset. When you learn to take responsibility and you know you are where you are because of you, that's when your life will begin to change. But there is a second level to this that I just learned just recently, a couple of weeks ago, working with a coach that I worked with, right? Some of you will come to me and understand this core principle, but not understand this second thing that really is really going to make the biggest difference ever. Guys, it's one thing to say that you're responsible for everything and everything's your fault. But the second layer to that is to actually change and actually make the decisions, choices, and actions as the person who has realized that, right? If you keep saying, I realize it's my fault, I know I should be doing these things, but I don't, that's the first step. But the second step is actually taking the action, right? The second step is doing, well, what can I do to change my situation, right? The first step is going, cool, it's my fault. I'm not where I want to be because of me, which is great. But if you keep yourself down in the dumps and you just go, well, I'm just responsible and I'm going to take full accountability and that's it, it's not enough. You need to take this step to actually make the difference. Am I making sense? Right? You need to make the active effort to make the change. I'll give you an example of this. This coach that I spent 30K on the last 4 months, right? Australian dollars, by the way. Australian pesos, right? As we call them, right? The the thing here is to understand and I've done this before, and I've realized this the second time going through it. I tried to work with an agency for the business almost a year ago now. And what I did was for 2 months, I just kind of sat around on my ass and did fucking nothing. I was lazy. And I was like, all right, this agency is going to sort it out. They're done for you. They're going to just make this magically work for me. Right? I'll let them do the work. I'll take my hands off the wheel. Just let them do their thing. The problem with that is that I'm not actually taking responsibility, right? I'm saying, oh, yeah, maybe, and if it doesn't work out, well, yeah, it's technically my fault. I'll try to take responsibility there. But like actually taking the action, moving on that's important. When I first started working with this YouTube coach, we were a month in and just nothing was happening. And we only started running ads, I think 3 months in the last 2 weeks of the 3 month locked in contract period, right? That's how long it took for these guys to start to get shit working. For the first bit, I'm just like the whole time, whoa, this is not working, or or whatever, like fucking poor me, blah blah blah, right? So that's not gonna do anything, right? It's not gonna do anything. But what I started to realize halfway through the grant, I was like, well, look, this is not working, but I'm going to make it work. I'm going to take responsibility. I'm going to make the changes. I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to do the things to actually make this transformation possible. Do you guys see the difference there? When I invest in somebody else, this is exactly how you guys should think. When I invest in somebody, I'm not betting on them, I'm betting on me. When I invest in somebody, I invest in a coach, I invest in a program, I'm not betting on them, I am betting on me. I'm going to do what's required. I'm going to make the changes. I'm going to make the decisions that is going to allow me to get the results that I want. Anything less, what are we doing? Right? And I'm saying this because I've come to this own realization myself over the last couple of months, right? There's even another circumstance where I paid a coach 10K US back in November, October last year, right? What did I do? Jumped in. He's going to give me the magical ad script. He's going to do the magical thing. I'm going to work with this guy. He's going to solve all my problems, right? This is how I thought, right? This is how I thought. And I knew that was the wrong thing going into it, post looking back at it 2 months later. But again, the problem was that I was just like, yep, it's my fault. It's my fault. It's my responsibility. Things didn't work out. But the problem was I didn't take this second level of accountability. I didn't go, cool. I accept and understand it's my responsibility. I accept it's my fault. But what's the next move from here? What am I going to change? What am I going to do differently? How am I going to solve this? How am I going to get my transformation? How am I going to get the results that I want? How can I create that? Not him, not her, not anybody else, right? How can I move the needle that's going to allow me to create the reality that I want? How can I make the choices of the person that does that? And this is the way that you should be thinking. You should all be thinking this way. This is the mindset that I honestly believe it's carried me through. The first mentorship that I did with my first mentor, again, I don't like to name him because I don't like to do that, but there is well over 500 people in that training. I know 4 people, including myself, that are still in the industry from that training. It's a terrible training. It's really bad, right? When I first couldn't get things to work, guys, you got to understand that I was just so delusional that this was going to work. I just pushed through. You guys know how I talk about having, your level of strategy that's required and the level of effort that's required for the result. You guys know about that, right? Long story short, if you don't, if you guys have a 10K per month goal, right? You want to work towards that, right? This is what you want to earn. You have to have the same strategy and the same level of effort that's required to hit that goal. This is where most people, screw things up. They go, oh, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do that. No, 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 no. You need to have a 10K strategy and a 10K effort that matches up to your 10K goal, right? I'm going to explain a little bit further on this stuff here in a second, but essentially, I had none of this. My strategy was a one. It was a zero, zilch, right? And I'm going to give Benji and myself as a good example here because again, by sheer brute effort, work, and discipline, we both got there. Why? This, right? The effort and the discipline outweigh the strategy. You don't want to play this game, believe me. Right? Benji and I know. Fucking sucks. It's not fun doing it that way, right? But you need to understand that your effort is so, so important in all of this. So, so, so important. This factors into responsibility. But again, you need to give your all to this. You need to be all in, right? This is what you're focused on. This is what you work on. This is what you think about. This is what you want, right? Anything less, if you're happy to making 3 to 4K a month on the side, which again, there's people I've onboarded recently that are okay doing that, that's fine. But if you have big goals and big aspirations, which I know all of you do, it's time to step up and take that accountability, that responsibility, and put in the maximum effort. Become obsessed, right? Have that never another level of responsibility, right? This is a part of the equation I wanted to talk about when it comes to managing your mindset. Another big thing, your vision, right? Most of you, if you've not gone through the exercises that I've spoken about, which some of you may have not, but the big problem with a lot of people is their vision is weak. It's non-existent. It's not real, right? How many people, what do they want to do? I want to make 10K a month. Cool. So does everybody. Everyone wants to make 10K a month, right? How are your goals different from the next guy? How are you going to differentiate? What is the reality that you want to build? What is the specificity to that, right? You have to know down to the very minute detail what it is that you want. Because again, I say this, but then people don't write this down. You need to know down to the very minor detail of what it is that you want, your exact reality, right? Everything that I'm living right now is a vision that I had in my mind 5 years ago. I built this, right? Literally imagined, visualized, created this vision in my mind. To get what you guys want, you have to understand why you want it. You have to understand what comes with it, right? Do you guys understand? Your vision is comprised of writing your next chapter in the book. What's your dream partner look like? Do you want a family? What do you want 10 years from now? Do you want $1 million in the bank account? You want multi-million dollars? You want $10 million? How much do you want? Why? How much cash flow do you want? What type, how many hours do you want to work? Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to have in your friendship circle? Right? What does your dream life look like? What does your dream house look like? I want you guys to actually conceptualize and think about this. Because when the time gets hard and when it gets tough, if you don't understand what you're running towards, you will stop running. Classic sales analogy. There is a different type of tenacity, a different type of run between the guy who is running towards an ice cream truck. Let's, for a funny example, a fat kid running towards an ice cream truck, fat kid running towards an ice cream truck, and someone running out of a burning building. That fat kid running to an ice cream truck, he's not going to run over broken glass. Can assure you that, right? He's going to go, oh, fuck. I don't want to do that. That's too hard. That's going to hurt. That's painful, right? They're going to stop at the first roadblock that they get. Maybe the next thing they come across some fire ants. They're barefoot. They go, probably not. Might just stop there. I might go head home, right? Maybe there's the next obstacle. Maybe he has to get in front of a car, whatever it is, right? Whatever little Jimmy has to do. Versus someone running outside of a burning building, they do not give a fuck what's in front of them, to be frank with you. They are out. They're gone. They'll jump out of a window if they have to. Their feet is pressing on hot embers right now. And they're trying to get out of that building as soon as possible, right? If you do not know what it is you are both running to and what you are running from, you will struggle when times get tough. This is very, very important. If you do not know what you're running from and what you're running to, you will struggle, right? This is very, very important. Am I making sense to everybody? Right? You need to have this vision clear in your mind, why you want it, how you want it, everything, right? These little things, like these little minor nuances, these little minor problems, they're not that big of a deal when you know what you're running towards and what you're running from, right? We're all running from something. We're all running towards something. We all have a vision, whether or not you like it or not. It's about becoming clear on what these things actually are. That could be anything. It could be you don't want to live your life as an average person who works a normal 9 to 5, right? That could be one thing, right? You could just be, it's just complete fear of working in a 9 to 5 the rest of your life, complete fear of going to university and doing the traditional pathway, complete fear of never having the freedom that you actually want, geographical, financial, and time, right? Whatever that is for you, you need to understand what that is. Because again, unless you just unconsciously have this delusional belief of what you're running from and what you're running to, it's not going to work out in your favor, right? You guys need to understand, I talk about this all the time, right? The inputs equal the outputs. We've all heard of this, right? Inputs equal outputs, right? This is success boiled down to two variables. This is what it is. It's all it is, right? Your vision, your output. What are you heading to? What is your dream goal? What do you want to make? 10K a month, right? For example, Rahul on the call a couple of weeks ago. I want to make 100K a month. Why? I don't know, right? It's going to be pretty difficult to hit those goals. You need to understand Why you want to hit the goals down to the very number. If you don't believe me, believe in a multi-millionaire mentor of mine that literally told me this. Sat down with him. I was like, cool, James, here are my goals. Here's what I want to hit by the end of the year. And he's like, great. Why? Why? Why do you want the things that you want? A lot of people plot out dreams that are not theirs. They don't even want in the first place, right? What is it you're running towards? Is it 10K a month? Is it 20K a month? Is it 30K a month? What do you want to make? What is your ultimate vision? What do you want for yourself? Starting to plot this out is incredibly important. So you know what you're running towards, right? What you get. When you know what you get at the end, it becomes very simple, right? Three variables. The quality of the input, the frequency, and the time. This is success dialed down to the most simple principle. This is the governing equation of all of it, guys, right? This is how it works. You must understand that if you are not where you want to be yet, it is one of these three things: the quality of the strategy, the frequency slash the effort, or the amount of time that you've been doing it. That's literally it, guys. Most people try to overcomplicate things. We call this complexity bias, right? Talk about this in RSI 2.0. People don't actually genuinely believe it is this simple to do the things they want, but it really is. Really is. You stress about this, you do that, right? You pick all these things, these obstacles, you create all these imaginary challenges for yourselves, but it's all there. You've got everything inside the RSA. You have all the training you need, you have all the guidance, you're getting more guidance soon, right? You have everything that you could possibly ever need here, right? Bar none. You have my 5 years of experience doing this. You have all my expertise, my experience. You've got all the stuff that you need. When it comes to adjusting your quality, your strategy, you already know it's good, right? But the thing is, whether or not you are doing it to the level that is required. People go, oh, yeah, I haven't really seen comment marketing work very well, right? No worries, Jax. See you, brother. Um, people will go, oh, well, like comment marketing doesn't work. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You commented awesome or cool under somebody's post. No wonder. No wonder it doesn't work because your effort is not there, right? And then we look at the frequency, right? We look at how much you're putting into the system, right? Again, people come to me with networking. Well, content's not working. Okay, right? It's either one or two things. You haven't done enough of it, or three things. Enough of it for a long enough period duration of time, or you've done it correctly. Because people come to me and they go, oh, networking doesn't work. And it's like, yes, it does. You just did it incorrectly, right? 99.9% of the time. Rahul.
Connor, just a quick question.
Mm.
From the three you just mentioned, quality, frequency, and time, what would you say out of the three would be the biggest needle mover?
They're
Or
all
all
important.
equally important, equally important?
It's all one variable. It's just split into sub variables. You need all three to get what you want. So you need to have the quality of the strategy, you need to have the frequency, you need to have the effort, but you
Mm,
also need to do it for a period of time.
yeah,
Think
and
about this, for example, with your agency, right? When you're doing it
yeah,
with your agency, right? If you stuck with it, you would have eventually figured it out. I'm sure, right?
100%. Yeah,
Maybe, right? Most likely, right? But the thing is, again, it's just all these factors are so, so important. You can't just subtract one or just focus on one. This whole variable is it's the thing.
yeah. And I'd guess that with enough frequency, quality naturally improves because you get better at what you do, right?
Yep, exactly right. It compounds, right? A big thing that you guys really don't think about is the compounding over time, right? The law of compounding is the biggest thing ever, right? And I've spoken about this in a YouTube video recently, but every great financial achievement is the accumulated efforts and sacrifices that no one ever sees or appreciates, right? The achievement of financial independence will require a tremendous number of small efforts on your part, right? It's really key to understand. You guys all know this because I talk about it all the time. This is what it looks like, right? Your journey. Nothing for a bit and then all at once, right? This is exactly how it plays out. For those that have been crushing it, Benji, Rahul, a couple others, right? It's exactly how it worked, right? You got nothing for a long time and then you started crushing it, seemingly out of nowhere. Seemed like a coincidence, right? Yeah, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So the big thing is, guys, again, tying back to what Rahul said with the, you get better over time at it. Again, this just compounds over time, but you guys don't see that, right? And you look at these marketers, they always advertise to you these short timelines. And this is why you're always thinking it. Even, all you guys are my clients, you already know it's going to take a long time to be successful. Your mind just keeps going, I want it now, 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 right? If you can think long term, can actually really stretch out your mind and actually think a little bit longer term, you realize that what you're looking for is actually not that far, right? It's really not. Would it be terrible? Would you guys hate it if you started from zero and you're making 10K a month in 12 months? And then you guys had geographical freedom, you had time freedom, and you could spend a bit more. Would you hate that? No, I don't think anybody would, right? A year is a pretty comfortable time frame to do that. That's why I say 6 months to a year is pretty stock standard, because you're going to have setbacks. You're going to have times where, again, you take maybe the wrong offer. Maybe you learn how to get better at sales. Like, that takes time. All these other things you got to factor in the play, right? But again, you got to realize that your skills and your efforts, the people that you know, everything like that, it just gets better the longer you're in it, right? The more people you know, the more results you have, the better personal brand you have, the better sales skills you have, everything. And when you can think this a little bit longer term and understand that you're only focusing on what you put in and not what you get out, right? Focus on the stuff that goes in the system, not what comes out. You'll be able to manage your mindset a lot better. And when you're confident and you know that the inputs you're putting in, like sales training, like networking, like personal branding, like all the things I talk about inside the RSA, and you know that you're putting in the effort, you know that it's just a matter of time till you get to where you want to go. Does that make sense to everybody? This is what the conclusions I've come to after like the last 5 years of kind of breaking this down and understanding this, right? Inputs equal outputs, peaks and valleys, right? Again, with the peaks and valleys side of things, where we kind of put it down here, right? So peaks and valleys, right? Um, the key thing here, do you guys not feel like shit all the time, is managing how you feel during these stages. When you go down, when you go up, you don't celebrate. You feel down in the dumps. It's just normal. It's an average day. It's normal. Happens, right? Made your first 10K a month. Amazing. Take your girlfriend out to dinner, right? Go have dinner with your family. But that's it. Don't go crazy. Because the moment you hit 5K a month next month, you're like, oh my God, the world's ending. Everything's over. I'm going to die, right? This is how we react, right? If you just think more of, when shit doesn't go my way and things go well, I'm going to feel the same. It's not going to change. I'm not going to think about it differently. I'm just going to say in equilibrium, right? And stay in that middle state, stay functional, stay thinking in that way. Does that final point make sense? Okay. Asan, is that helpful?
Yeah, definitely, bro. Like, yeah, so clear. It's just like the execution is the only thing that's it. Just gotta execute on it,
Right.
literally.
And you know, that's what we talked about earlier, right? The double prong responsibility.
Yeah.
It's always good coming to me and saying, "Hey, look, I know I'm responsible. I know I should be doing more," but then doing the more, being the more, acting the more, right? Being the guy that has what you want. And just a final touch on that point, guys, I think is really important. Is I've spoken about this before, but I want to speak about this again because I know how important this is, right? All right. The concept of be, do, have, right? Versus do, be, have, right? Heard this from a mindset guy on YouTube recently, and it just perfectly encapsulates what I want to get you guys to understand. If you're not where you want to be right now, it's because you're not the person you need to be to have the things you want. Straight up. If you are not where you want to be, you are not the person you need to become to get those things, to deserve those things, to keep those things. The world has a very funny way of teaching you a lesson over and over again that you need to become the person you need to become to get the things you want. Very funny way, right? If you want to be the 10K month guy, if you want to have these things, you have to act like it. You have to physically draw out with clear and clarity who that person is. If you want to make 100K a month, who do you need to be to become that guy? Who do you need to be to become that person to achieve what you want? I can assure you, you are not who you need to be to get to where you want to go. That's why you're not there. Write this out. Plot out your new version of character. This guy here, right? Who is it? If you want to make 10K a month, what do they act like? Who do they think like? Who do they become? How do they make decisions? Right? Who are they? Who is that person? Literally, the difference in, again, your goals is just identity. That's all that it is. Most people always mistake, I will do the thing, then I will become the person, and then I will have the thing. You have to reinvent yourself. It's going to feel fake. It's going to feel inauthentic. But you, again, if you want to be a millionaire, you have to act like a millionaire. You have to think like a millionaire. You have to behave like a millionaire. This is what I've learned. And when you do this, this is when you actually get what you're looking for. You actually become the person before you see the thing, which in sometimes can be a hard thing to do. We know imposter syndrome. We've heard of that before, right? This is what that is. This is exactly what that is. 10K a month. You earn 10K a month, but you're not the guy to earn 10K a month. You lose it, right? How many times have we seen that? A lot, right? Does that make sense to everyone? Cool. Rahul, Naveed?
Yeah, Connor, quick question. In terms of being the person before you've actually achieved the thing. So essentially, I just wanted to clarify. You'd ideally make a list of what that person does, like version 2.0 of you does,
Yeah.
and then you would basically act in accordance with version 2.0 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be correct?
Correct. And you would plot out in third person who that person looks like.
And then in terms of like literally jotting down what he does, would it be like what he does on a daily basis, what he looks like, what he
Yes.
eats, that sort of
What
thing?
it, what you wear down to the minute detail, everything, right?
Okay.
Connor is a multimillionaire. Connor does this. Connor dresses like this person, right? Connor does this. Connor looks like this. Connor has a circle of brothers that he really trusts and cares about, that he knows he can trust with anything. Connor has this dream partner. Connor has this. Connor does this, right? You need to really picture who that next level version of you actually is so that you can start acting in accordance.
That's so valuable. Thanks for that.
No worries. Sweet, guys. All right. That's a lot. I know there's probably a lot to go through and think about.